Hi, in this video, we will see other important charts in Power BI like your ribbon chart, map, and a filled map chart. First, we will look at a ribbon chart. So first, let me draw out the visualization and then let me explain where it could be very useful. So I will select the visualization chart here, which is a ribbon chart. And in the axis, let me drag here, and in the value let me drag total, and in the legend let me drag a product, similar to other charts that we have seen till now. And if you do it this way, you get a ribbon chart. Probably this is a slightly confusing chart, but it's very easy to understand. You can use such kind of charts to visualize data and quickly determine which category of data has the highest rank, or for example a largest value. Ribbon charts are effective at showing values that change or how ranks change, with the highest value always being displayed on top for each time period. So to explain it better, first let me go and change the axis to a categorical one rather than a continuous one. And if you observe, we have a column for each of the different years, and between the years or between the columns we have the ribbons that are basically tracing out from one value to the other. And for each of the different column we have the product that is having the highest total sales value at the top. So for each of the years you see that we have a laptop which is having the highest sales value, and only for the year 2010 we have mobile which basically has the highest sales value. Okay, so if you compare it with the laptop is slightly lesser compared to your mobile for the year 2010. So you may ask, how do we interpret this chart? So consider the columns as the actual values for the different years, and the ribbons between them as the transformation of the values that they have taken. So for example, if you hover over this laptop bar, or rather laptop column for the year 2008, you get the laptop value as some around 16 million, and the next column for laptop which is basically 7.6 million. But if you hover over the ribbon which is between them, which is in the same color as the bars, they basically tell the 2008 total and the 2009 total and what is the total change in value. They also tell what is the rank of this particular product category between 2008 and 2009. We will see one more example. Just hover over 2009 and hover over the product category, and you see that for the year 2009 we have basically 7.7 million total sales value for laptop, and for the year 2010 if you hover over that we basically have something like 6.8 million. And if you hover over the ribbon which is basically connecting them, we see that in 2009 the laptop's rank was 1, and in 2010 the laptop's rank is 2, so which basically indicates a rank change of -1. So using these ribbons which are basically between your different columns, you can basically understand how these values are getting transformed on a year-on-year basis. So if you see under x-axis, what other options you can use? One option that you can probably use is the minimum category width. So if you can increase this value, so basically your category width increases. So basically you get a scroll so that you can see the entire number of years. So let me bring it back to my normal by just saying Ctrl Z. And then let me minimize this x-axis and go to my data colors. So here again there is nothing which is new to us, so basically you can go and control whatever color you want to make your charts look beautiful. And then let us look at the next option, which is data labels. So let me turn them on, and basically you get the values which basically correspond to each of these columns. And again, you can go and control more options. So you can go and position these values as either inside center or inside end or inside base. And again, others are very minute details with respect to your data labels. For example, if you want to show the background for these data labels, just say on. So let me minimize the data label section and go to my plot area section. And again, if you see, this is pretty much what you can use to display beneath your chart. So let me skip that as well. And now the most important section is the ribbons section. So the ribbons basically indicate the kind of area which is basically connecting your two columns. So if you want the ribbons to be separate, you can basically add a spacing. So just increase the spacing and you see that the ribbons are a bit separate, and you can easily distinguish which one is what. And there is one more option called match series color. So if you turn that to off, what happens is that these ribbons will take a completely different color or probably no color when compared to your columns. So let me make it on so that it's easier to basically know which particular column this particular ribbon is referring to. And then if you want to increase the transparency of these ribbons, you can go and increase the value, so that will make it more transparent. Okay, so you can probably easily distinguish the ribbons from your column. And then this border option basically lets us to add borders to our ribbons. Anyway, this doesn't look very good, so I'm gonna put my border off. So now let me go to my page 2 and talk about map charts. So Power BI uses the Bing mapping engine to basically draw a map. It uses the mapping engine to figure out where to plot them, whatever values you suggest. So you don't even need to specify any latitude or longitude. So to select a map, you can either go and select the map chart first, or just see the selection now. If I just select the continent and see what happens, it has understood the values within the continent column or the continent field, and it has basically created a map chart with the values for different continents plotted in this color. So again, if you want, you can add more geographical data. For example, I will drag a country into my location, and again I will drag city into my location. And again, as expected, this will create the hierarchical chart or the drill down. So let me add totals into my size. So the size basically indicates the amount of value. See, smaller the size basically indicates the value is lesser, and bigger the size indicates the value is more. And let me also add any of the categorical variables into my legend field. And this basically divides your pie across different products. Note that you need not use the latitude and longitude variables or the values, because you basically have the values of the city, continent and country, and Bing is able to recognize it and plot it directly. However, if you have latitude and longitude values in your dataset, that is well and good, because it will allow Bing to map the data even more accurately. So we will look at what options we have in the format section. So one of the most important is the bubbles. So using the size of the bubble variable, you can basically control the size of your bubbles. So first what I will do is I will go up, or I will drill up to the top level, and let me increase the size. So basically you can increase as bigger as you want. And in map styles, you can basically go and select any of the different themes for your Bing maps. So right now we have a theme of road, and if you want any other theme, like for example grayscale, and you see that the map updates to show you the theme accordingly. Next, we will talk about a filled map chart. A filled map chart uses shading or patterns to display how a value differs in proportion across a geography or a region. So what I will do is first I will select a continent into my location, and note that a continent will work for a field map chart because a continent is it represents an area. So basically it has an area to fill something into, and then let me drag the country as well, and even the country will work for a filled map chart because again it represents an area. And I will drag total sales into my color saturation, and let me enlarge the chart. And you see that the continents are filled with different colors or different shades of a color based on the total value. So what I will do is I will drill down one level, and this is the total sales by different countries. And again, if you see, most of the countries are filled with pale green, but only Australia has a dark green, indicating that it has a bigger pie. And even if you have a city at the third level, let's try that. So if you have city at the third level, now this will not work because city, as I said, it does not represent an area. So I will go down one level down from country to city, and note that it completely remains blank. So what I will do is I will remove the city field, and I will go to my format section, and within data colors you can basically specify the entire spectrum over here. So for example, I can define my own spectrum by saying one end the minimum will be green, and the other end the maximum will be red. Okay, so basically it will define its own spectrum. As you see, the lower end is the minimum, the higher end is the maximum, which is red, and so your chart updates accordingly. So in summary, we have learned about ribbon chart, map chart, and a filled map chart. And in the next video, we will talk about a funnel chart, gauge chart, and a card chart.